it's me, Ellen. I have a story for you called The Sound of Silence. And the city in this looks a little different. I think well, let's see what you think, where you think it takes place. I don't think it takes place in Sierra Madre or Pasadena, but it's by Katrina Goldsaito, and it's illustrated by Julia Kuo. It's called The Sound of Silence, and I got it from my friend Kelly Mace. You might know Kelly from Group 2 or Multi-Age or Aftercare. The Sound of Silence. Can you tell what kind of weather it's going to be? Maybe you're having this kind of weather at your house right now too. Little Yoshio wiggled with anticipation. 3, 2, 1. He throws open the front door. Let's see what happens. The sounds of the city swirled all around him. Tokyo was like a symphony hall. Do you know where Tokyo is? It's in Japan. Yoshio listened to the sounds of his boots squishing and squashing through the puddles and the tiny raindrops pattering on his umbrella. The sound of his giddy giggles made him giggle even more. Do you notice something about all these kids? Oh, I guess this is all Yoshio. But you'll notice you might see other kids in this book, and they might also have the same color hat and backpack, because kids who are the same age in Japan, in the same city, all have the same colors of backpacks and hats for when they go to school. Suddenly, Yoshio heard the strangest sound, high and then low, squeaky and vibrating. Amazing! It was a koto player, carefully tuning her instrument. Then the koto player played. The notes were twangy and twinkly. They tickled Yoshio's ears. When the song finished, Yoshio said, "Sensei, I love sounds, but I've never heard a sound like that." Sensei is another word for teacher. The koto player laughed, and it sounded like the metal bell that swayed in the wind in Mama's garden. Maybe he means like a wind chime. "Sensei," Yoshio said, "do you have a favorite sound?" "The most beautiful sound," the koto player said, "is the sound of ma, of silence." "Silence?" Yoshio asked, but then the koto player just smiled a mysterious smile and went back to playing. Did I tell you what sensei means? Sensei means teacher. Yoshio bowed to the koto player and ran to school. Where can I find silence? Yoshio wondered as he listened to the thwack of his boots on the pavement. Do you think it looks very quiet in these pictures? I don't know. Ooh, maybe in this one, maybe here. He listened for it all through the school day, but there was always some kid making noise. At recess, the sun came out, and Yoshio went to the quietest place he knew, the bamboo grove at the edge of the playground. But even there, the bamboo made a tucka-tucka-tucka sound as the wind banged its stalks together. He closed his eyes and heard the swish, swish, swish of the wind making the leaves talk. It was beautiful, but it wasn't silence. Walking home from school, Yoshio listened hard. He could hear the horns of buses and the whoosh of bullet trains and the beep, beep, beep of the traffic lights, but no silence. Yoshio knew so many different sounds, loud and soft, sudden and soothing. But silence? Where was silence? It wasn't in the dining room, where there was always the sound of chopsticks and slurping and chewing and swallowing. Do you see what they're sitting? They're sitting on a low table. And in winter, there's a heater under this table, and they put a blanket on it. It's nice and cozy. And these are not carpet squares. These are tatami. They're made out of rice stalks. What a noisy family. Silence wasn't in the bath, where even his toes made noise, and little droplets of water kept dripping off his nose. Drip, drip, drip. That night, Yoshio tried to stay up late to catch the silence while his family slept, but his eyes got heavy and then heavier, and soon the sound of a distant radio became part of his dreams. The next morning, Yoshio woke up to his neighbor's dog barking and barking, and oh no, he'd missed the silence. Yoshio walked to school early, his sisters whizzed by on their way to the park, screeching Yoshio's name. Where was silence? Yoshio heard the creak of the school gate as he pulled them open. No one was at school yet. He put on his inside shoes and listened as they shuffled on the shiny floor. The classroom felt different without anyone in it. He sat at his desk by the window and pulled out a book. He loved this story, and as he read, he forgot where he was. Do you see where he is in the picture? He's a pretty small part of this picture. Suddenly, in the middle of a page, he heard it. No sounds of footsteps, no people chattering, no radios, no bamboo, no koto being tuned. In that short moment, Yoshio couldn't even hear the sound of his own breath. Everything felt still inside of him, peaceful, like the garden after it snowed, like feather-stuffed futons drying in the sun. Silence had been there all along. It had been there between the thumps of his boots, when he ran, when the wind stopped for just a moment in the bamboo grove, at the end of his family's meal, when everyone was happy and full, after the water finished draining from his bath, before the koto players' music began, and hovering in the air right after it ended. It was between and underneath every sound, and it had been there all along. Ma, silence. Do you remember the part of the book where he said the silence was? Hold on a second, let me find the page. When he's reading his book and he finds the silence, where is it? Here it is. It says, everything felt still inside of him. Peaceful, like the garden after it snowed, like feather-stuffed futons drying in the sun. Silence had been there all along, and it's inside of him. Everything felt still inside of him. And you might be able to find that too. We talk about the zones in our class, red, yellow, green, blue. You can think about what zone you think you'd be in to feel the silence. If you're feeling wiggly inside, what would you need to do to help your body move from the yellow zone down to the green zone, where you might be able to feel the silence inside of you?